you're pretty much the most dynamic couple out there on the, on the internet, but you're also new parents. Your new family, and you let us be part of your family with all the content that you share. I really feel like I know you and I know your kid, and I'm so glad that you're part of our family too with Team Galaxy.
Thank you. Yes, it's a big family.
Thank you. So we really wanted to talk to you about that moment and that decision about becoming a content creator. And in our discussions, you were telling me that it wasn't just like a moment in time. So tell me a little bit about that story and that moment when you knew.
Yeah.
So you want to take it from the top?
Well,
from the top.
It doesn't happen overnight. It really doesn't. But if we go back, we're high school sweethearts, and we always enjoyed in high school taking photos, taking videos.
More so than me, but
yeah. So there's a balance. Yeah, I'm extroverted. He's very introverted at heart, and I think that's a good balance in like relationships. But yeah, in high school, we enjoyed taking photos just for the fun of it. It was like something we genuinely loved doing. And right when I was going off to college, my sister was like, "Oh, you guys should start a YouTube channel." And we're like nobody has time for that. Like nobody's gonna watch our channel. Like no, I'm going to college. I'm gonna get my college degree, and that's it. Like I was like set in stone. Like I'm going to go to school, I'm going to work in the family business and just do things the right way, I guess, right?
Right.
But then that kind of stuck to me because she's like, well, go to college and vlog your experience. And I'm like, okay, well, maybe that's not a bad idea. I think I would enjoy that. And I told him, I was like, let's start a YouTube channel. He was like, are you sure? And I'm like, yeah. And we did it, and it just started as a hobby. Like
we weren't super consistent. Like we probably posted maybe once every month.
Exactly. Yeah, like once every month. But we started building a community and people that were actually expecting our videos. And we're like, wow. But again, I wasn't seeing it like that. I wasn't seeing it as a career. I was seeing it more like as a hobby, something we enjoyed. And it wasn't until 2020 where the pandemic hit and there was just a lot more free time because we were like in the house a lot more. And we started making more content and putting it out there. And then eventually people were like, why didn't you post this day? Or like, why have you guys...
They were getting mad that we weren't posting. So
yeah, so I was like, well, we have lives too, we have a job. We can't, and, we would come back from our jobs at like 5, 6 p.m., right?
Yeah,
and we would create content till like midnight, 1 a.m. But it wasn't work to us. It was so
like
fun.
We literally lost track of time.
Yeah,
1 minute we're recording a video, and then before we knew it, it's already like 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, and it was like wow. And then we would have to wake up the next morning so tired. But we loved it until finally there was like a breaking point where we're like okay, we have to pick and choose. Like, are we going to do this full time? Or are we not? And I was like, let's do it. And he's like, no, that's not smart.
We had a house. We had to pay our bills. And
yeah, he's like, we have to pay our bills. Like, This is our hobby. Like, we could do this in our free time when we like have fun with it. And I was like, no, we can make this a career. Like, we can do this. And yeah, like we took that leap of faith and we're here now.
Because it's one thing to take it, on your own and then as a couple, right? Like what other security do you have? What other stability do you have? You actually bet everything to make sure that you make it, and you did. And now you have 15 million followers. So that was an amazing leap of faith.
Thank you. Yes, it was. Now that I look back at it, I was so young. So I was just like, let's do it. Like I was fearless.
Yeah, it was like the perfect time to make mistakes if we're going to make any.
2020.
Yeah. But he was always like, no, like come back to reality. Like we're doing this for fun, but we have our jobs. We graduated college. Like this, this is our jobs. This is our career. This is for fun. And I was like, no, we can make this as a career. And I did compromise with him. I remember telling him, I was like, please, let's just do this full time. And he was like, all right. And that's when we started setting goals. And it's like, okay, Anna, like he's always been like kept me grounded, like, like in a good way. Like, it's like, you have to be realistic. Like, how are we going to pay our bills? Like, we're trying to grow a family, we can't just live off social media. I was like, yes, we can. We were already getting like emails and stuff, but we wouldn't take that. Like, we sometimes there was paid things that we weren't able to do because we didn't have the time. Until finally I started compromising with him, and he's like, all right, let's have a safe net. If we can, save up for 6 months of, living expenses, then I will compromise with you and we'll do this full time. And I was like, all right. So I was like on the mission. Like it turned, it was like kind of like a challenge for me, because at first I was just doing it for fun. I wasn't seeing the money.
Right.
Because we had our jobs and that was secure. But then when he told me that, I was like, all right, I can make it
Stopped eating
happen.
out. Like there was no more outside food.
We started saving up. And then we saved up, and I was like, listen, there's money in the bank. Like, let's do this full time. And then this is what we love. This is what I love. And I know did you
I
love
love it. I love
Yeah.
it, of course.
He's supposed to say that. No, just kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's sleeping in the couch. No, I'm just kidding. But, we both came to an agreement and we're like, all right, let's do this. And we did have that safe net though. I'm not, and I do recommend for everyone that wants to do this full time. I mean, unless you're living with your parents, I feel like if you're living with your parents, not paying any bills, go for it.
Right.
But if you are a family and you have to pay bills, you do want to have some kind of
That's
savings.
the smartest thing, to have like some
Right.
sort of safe net. Now everybody's safe net is different, but
Yeah.
So that kind of gives you that reassurance that even if it doesn't work out, which it would work out, right?
Yeah.
Like you still have a backup and something to go back to.
Exactly.
Yeah. So you guys talk a lot about your career paths. Obviously, it would have been something different. Do you want to talk about like what that was? That you had set plans and then you suddenly just gave into your passion.
Yes. So I went to school for PR, public relations.
and I went to school for international business.
Yes. So this was always like the plan, that I had as a little girl, because my family, they own a trucking business, and it's an established trucking business, and it's successful, and that's like the backbone of it. That's what keeps America moving, trucking, right? So I always I'm going to go to school, get the easiest degree I could get, and then just go work with my parents, because I come from a household that's like, you have to go to college. Like, college education is important, which, yeah, it's good. Nowadays, I don't know. You don't need a college education to be successful, but it is important. It is good. So went off to college, did that, and then we moved back. I moved back home. I was in Miami, FIU, go Panthers. I love my university. But I came back to Tampa and then started working in the family business. And it was just a safe, I liked it, but I wasn't happy 100%. When there's something that there's missing, it's like, oh, I gotta go to work. It wasn't that spark, because picking up the camera and vlogging or making videos, it wasn't work to me. It was something that
Normal to us.
I loved. So that's why I was like, yeah, and that's when I started questioning, do I really want to do this for the rest of my life? And yeah, that's my career.
And yeah, I was gonna use my education to expand her parents' business. But thank God now, because I couldn't see myself managing trucks all day. Crazy.
Yeah, and well, you had a dropshipping store too. He doesn't like to give himself credit.
And stuff. I was more like an entrepreneur, but
He had a really successful dropshipping store, which is behind the scenes. So it's funny because now we're in front of we're in front of the
so
camera.
I was the person who was finding influencers to promote my products, and now I'm the influencer. So I became what I was.
That's incredible. Full circle right there.
Yeah, that's how we bought our home actually. So shout out to you.
Had some money saved up.
Shout out. That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's so cool. So I know that you guys had a lot of discussions. I'm sure you've been together for a while. You communicate very well. But as a couple, were there signs did you raise up your finger in the air and is this the right time? How could you tell, within those 6 months that no, this is our path. We're going to continue going.
So really, it's more of a feeling more than anything. But from a visual standpoint, we've seen a lot of our audience, like we said earlier, demanding content from us, which we did all that we could with the time that we had. So if we wanted to produce more content, we would have to choose one or the other. So that was a key sign for me that either we're gonna go all the way in on this, or these people are gonna keep being mad at us because we're not giving them the videos they
Yeah.
want.
So it was like we felt like we were letting them down in a way, because they're like, well, when's the next video? And sometimes we would feel bad. We're like, wow, we can't really, because he would edit all the videos. Now we have an editor, but at the time he would edit everything, and we just really didn't have the time to edit. So we would feel bad, and we're like, okay, we have to make a decision now. And this is not healthy either, coming home and going to sleep at 1 a.m. every day. Like, we just have to pick and choose. Either we go all in trucking or all in social media. And, of course, I was like, do social media, but obviously we would have these discussions too, because I wanted to make sure he wanted to, we were both on the same page. I didn't want to be the only one like wanting to do this, because that's another, I feel like a very important thing when you do social media. A very important element is you have to have the passion for it, because a lot of people, especially nowadays, they're like, oh, you can make so much money on social media. You can just get famous, and I'm gonna do social media, but they're doing it for the wrong intention. So they're doing it for the money. But what I've learned is if you have a passion for it, the money will follow. That shouldn't be, especially now. I feel like back then it was a little harder too, because only YouTube was you were able to monetize your content on YouTube. And now there's so many different platforms paying: Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, so it's a lot more opportunity now, but you just have to have the passion, because if not, you're going to burn out. You're going to burn out. You're going to start doing it for a few months, like, I love this, but then
You have to have that passion to drive you, because there's gonna be times where, you might post something and it's not gonna do the numbers that you thought it was gonna do. But if you have that passion and you really care about the content you create, that starts to become irrelevant. And, even if you do post something and it doesn't have amazing numbers, at least you still love that content. And you'll always have that content that you can look back to. And then you just keep going and continuing your journey.
Exactly. And then again, all that follows. If you just show up and do what you love, the money will follow, the numbers will follow, all that will follow. So
I love that. So gotta have passion, gotta, be able to be consistent to turn that into a career.
Definitely.
We were talking about the key elements, right? To once you make the decision to take the leap, the key elements that you have to have as a creator, and one of them obviously being passion. What other elements would you recommend upcoming creators to have accounted for as they think of taking the leap?
Yeah, I feel like you have to also have a clear vision on where you want to go and what platform you want to establish. Because, nowadays, it's not hard to go viral on, especially like on TikTok. I feel like it's something that anyone can do, but it takes more than one viral post. It's like, what's going to keep them coming back for more? What's going to keep your audience engaged? And you want to have a community that's engaged. And that's why you have to have a clear vision, like, who's your audience? Who's your target audience? And, you just have to stick to that and just continue to build and know where you're going and know who your audience is and know your vision, and just show up and be consistent.
Be consistent. I love that. From your perspective, did you think you had those elements in place when you decided to take the leap, or is that something that you kind of create along the way?
So we learned a lot. We learned a lot throughout the way. But yeah, I feel like we did have a clear vision of where we wanted to go.
Yeah, we had a clear vision. I probably wouldn't have said, like, okay, if we didn't have the clear vision. But we had a clear vision. If there's one thing that we didn't have when we first started, is knowing our worth as content creators.
Yeah,
That's something that we definitely learned along the way.
exactly. Yeah.
Knowing your worth. How do you establish that? How do you know what you're worth? What does that look like?
Well, the thing is, when you're a content creator, you start getting approached by many different companies and brands that want to work with you, And at first, we were broke college kids, so we would take anything, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, well, not any brand, but just anything that came anything that came our way, right? Like $50, $500. Yeah, that's fine, because we're just like, this is good. This makes sense, This is easy. But then when you start growing, you start realizing, the value of your content and your audience, and you don't want to say yes to everything. And honestly, to me and to us, I would say, like, as a team, it's not all about the money. Your brand has to align with our vision. Is it good for our community? Does it align with what we believe in? And there's been companies that have offered great pay, but it's like that doesn't really align to what we believe in and what we're striving for. We're family friendly. We want to keep it that way. So we had to decline, and that's when you know your worth. And you start knowing, like, okay, like, yeah.
But you had to have gotten there after going through a few challenges, right? So some of the risks that people wouldn't think about, like, we just wouldn't come up with it if we didn't go through it, right? So what would be some of the risks that you would kind of say, okay, think about this before you actually take the leap, and think about this before you actually become a content creator?
Yeah, getting burned out for sure. Because again, if you're just doing it for the money or for the opportunity is out there. But if you're just doing it for that reason, you're gonna get burned out. Because just like sometimes you wake up and don't wanna go to work, there's days, and I'll be completely honest, there's days where I don't wanna pick up the camera and I'm just like, oh my God, like, I don't wanna record today. But you have, it's like your why. Like, why did I start this, And if you have the why, and if you have a clear vision and you have passion for it, you're always gonna come back, and you're gonna be like, this is where I love to do. This is my safe zone. I'm gonna do it, because I love it. But the minute you just do it just to the money or just the benefits that come with it, it's like you're gonna hate your life and you're probably gonna cry. Because it looks easy. It looks very easy. I remember even before we started doing this full time, I was like, but I love it. I love doing this. I have a passion for taking videos, and he loved doing videos with me. And I'm like, we can do this every day. But even me loving to create content, once it's a career, there's still days where you're like, feel like, So imagine if you don't have the love for it, then you're just literally gonna hate it, So,
Wow.
yeah.
It's an everyday challenge, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't say every day, but
It has its moments.
it has its moments, just like everything. Like, sometimes you have a bad day, but, again, that's why you have to know your why and your purpose. And I feel like we found purpose in creating content, and that's what keeps us here.
And I think that's what keeps you so real and so engaging, and when people resonate and they can relate with you, and you have such a great audience. I mean, 15 million followers and still making us feel like we're part of your family. That's really impressive.
Thank you. Yeah, well, we try to, we always say we're not perfect. And that's another thing I feel like a lot of content creators, when they start off, they feel like they just have to be perfect. And it's, I've met people where it's like, I'm going to Best Buy and I'm getting the best camera and the best lights. And
I know we literally started.
We started with our phones. Yeah.
Wow.
And there's nothing wrong with starting. I think that there's beauty in the process because it's not a race, it's a marathon.
Mm-hmm.
If you start seeing it like, I have to have the best of, to start, and no. You along the way, you start
People want to
upgrading.
see the realness.
Yeah,
They want something relatable.
Yeah, they want to be able to relate to you because you see perfection on TV. It's like nowadays people want to relate, and
Right.
everyone's relatable in this room, So you just have to tap into that. And if you love doing, if you love a specific thing, whether it's us, obviously we love to share love and relationship and family and relatable and. But for you, it might be
Cats.
yeah, or makeup,
Travel.
travel. There's a niche for everything. So you just have to tap into that and be like, and know who your niche is. And like, no, okay, this is my niche. This is my audience, and then yeah.
And even with that, be ready to evolve, right? So you guys started out as, like college couple and then evolved into a family. So you have to be ready to pivot and evolve.
Exactly. It's always changing. So yeah, you have to adapt. And just like we evolved as like now we're a family and we have a baby, social media is also evolving. Reels wasn't a thing 2 years ago, 3 years ago. So just like social media is constantly changing, and you have to, as creators, you have to adapt to those changes. You have to get educated on those changes and keep up, because if not, you're gonna fall behind. Like I ran into some amazing content creators that would post only photos on IG. And that worked 4 years ago. And they were doing amazing. And they would work with great brands and they were killing it. And then Reels came along and they're like, oh, I'm not gonna do that. And I'm like, well, but that's the thing that's like popping right now. Like you gotta get on that. What do you mean? Like, no, my thing is pictures only. And I'm like, okay. And then now, unfortunately, they didn't adapt to the change. So
You miss out on that wave.
not because they're not good creators, but because, yeah, they didn't adapt. So, and it's not being like everyone else. You know, you want to be authentic, you want to be true to yourself, but you also want to adapt to changes and just,
Be you with the changes
Yeah.
of the platform.
And in your case, you have to adapt changes together as a couple.
Yeah.
So I think we've all been wondering, like, what's it like to be partners in life and in business for you two?
It's a balancing act sometimes. I honestly couldn't ask for anybody better to be a partner with in this. But you guys are too much.
We're done.
opposites
Just kidding.
attract. Opposites
We have
attract.
a good thing going on. Like she said at first, I'm really introverted, and she's the one that's like, talk to me.
Fearless.
You're,
You know, I couldn't have done it without him because he's like the behind the scenes, like editing, and I'm the one like, we're doing this video, we're doing this, we're going here. And he, you know, so yeah, we're a great team. And I think we, as partners, we have to share that on social media. I mean, we don't put everything out there either, you know, even though like,
It looks like a lot of it is out there.
yeah, a lot of it is, but you know, there's things that we also like to keep private, you know? And then when it comes to the business aspect, it's like, okay, well, that's when we sit down and have these discussions. Like, we both want to make sure, okay, we're working with this brand. Are you okay with it? Am I okay with it? Like, you know, like we always want to come in agreement because, yeah, we're partners, but we are also business partners.
We
at
have
the
to
end
make
of the day.
that switch from you're my wife to now we're doing this business project together. So how
Does it make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do we want to do it? Yeah.
that's a great point. So how do you select the brands that work for you? What's your process like to vet out? Because obviously as partners, I mean, you may have different points of view and may have to get to, you know, a common area. How do you decide that?
Well, honestly, it has to be something that I genuinely enjoy. You know, I feel like when you lie to your audience, they can tell, you know, they can tell that, oh, you're just getting paid for this, you know, but when you actually truly enjoy something and you share, you're authentic, you know? And then also it has to align to the vision because we like to keep our content clean and family friendly and relatable. So there's things out there for couples and, you know, because we're a couple and we're in that niche and we're a family, there's so many different types of brands that, oh, you know, and I'm not gonna name anything, you know, like name any specific companies, but we're like, come to this platform, you know, we'll pay you X amount of dollars or promote this and, you know, we'll pay you. And it's like, you couldn't pay me $1 million because that's not what I believe in. That's not what I want my, you know, my audience is looking at us and looking what we're posting. And we know that we influence them as well. And we don't want to just, you know, put anything out
Garbage.
there, you know? So it just has to align with the vision.
So we're so proud that we were part of Team Galaxy because obviously that says that you love us as much as we love you.
Samsung, yes.
What's your favorite part about being part of Team Galaxy?
A lot.
For me, for sure, the family, like all of you guys that we have out here. This is literally like our second event that we've been out to, and everybody that we met so far has been like family.
Very nice. But we also, it's very convenient too, because like the products are amazing and the quality is crazy. You know, we had a recent trip to Colorado.
Yeah, so we went skiing in Colorado, and we always believe in producing the best quality content for our community. But have you ever tried to go skiing?
I did one time.
Did you do it again?
I rolled off the cliff. Like it was like the worst experience I ever had. So not doing it again.
Yeah.
So we went skiing, and with all that, I couldn't hold the camera because it's way too big. But with the Galaxy, I was able to pull my phone out, and we vlogged the whole day, and it looked just as good as if
Yes.
I vlogged my camera.
Same thing with snowmobiling. I was in the back seat and we had a vlog. And again, we couldn't bring our camera's pretty big, but with our Galaxies, it's like we get the same quality. The S23 Ultra is crazy. So it's like I was literally in the back, which I was a little scared I was gonna drop it, but thankfully I didn't. But I was able to vlog everything, and the quality is amazing. And it looked like from our actual camera.
Your trip looked like so much fun. That looked amazing. Colorado looked so good. You guys had a good time.
Yeah, it was really fun. It was so cold, but it was really fun.
Did you guys take Elijah with you?
Yeah.
Yeah? I was wondering if you're thinking about changing your IG handle to add another A. Is that coming anytime soon?
No, we're a family, but we started off as Anthony and Anna, and of course our son means the world to us. But we want to keep growing our family, and I feel like if we add another A, then we're just gonna have to add on more.
More A's.
And that's gonna be too much. So we're gonna keep it as Anthony and Anna, and yeah.
All the A's. I love it.
Yeah.
That's so cute.
Yeah.
I was actually talking to you guys before getting on stage, and we were talking about when you knew it was the right time to find management, right? So can you tell us a little bit about that? Like, okay, so we've taken the leap. We know what our key elements are. We know that we have to be disciplined and have passion. When do you find representation?
Well, we couldn't keep up with their emails. It was just so much. it was a lot.
I
And
would say that's the thing, yeah, because once you start seeing that you don't have the time to respond, like then you're gonna need outside help. But with management, you have to find somebody that you trust.
yeah, someone that's gonna work for you, and you guys are a team. And thankfully, we're partnered up with the management company that we recently got signed to them, and we like them so far. But yeah, you just have to be very careful out there because not everyone is for you, So
Like take your time with
yeah.
choosing management, interview multiple managers.
Yeah,
Or you guys
yeah.
can choose one.
Yeah, but I would say when it comes a time where, you can't handle the emails, it's probably time to look for help. Yeah.
Amazing. That's so great. Thank you so much, guys, for sharing your journey, for sharing your life on social media, for being part of Team Galaxy. We're so delighted to have you. I'm excited to call back Simon to stage, but you guys have any words of advice for up-and-coming creators before we go?
Be fearless.
Love it.
Be yourself.
Stay true to yourself. People love you. I feel like you have to have that self-love first, because if you don't love yourself, then how can you give that? And you can feel that through the camera.
And don't be afraid to post content that you feel is you.
Yeah, exactly. Because there's an audience for everyone, and it's out there. So you just have to let it come to you and find it.
There you go. Okay, get posting.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.